What's up again, everybody? As you saw in the opening there, I am playing a dragon team. My good friend Chris here is playing a really cool combo team using the common Jubilee and uncommon Danger Room to be able to kind of OTK, push a bunch of damage with Guy Gardner. Looks like he is going to pick up Big Entrance and put that into his bag on turn 1, rolling those 3 dice. Passing over to me, I'm going to roll up 4 dice. I have varying energy types here. Goal for me is to get Ring of Winter here prepped over on turn number 1. One sidekick would be good. I don't have much to do with that energy because I don't have Resurrection on this team. I can't res a die on turn 1 to try and get a bunch of dice to roll on turn 2 with that Ring of Winter. But this reroll is perfect because we're going to field a sidekick and pay Rip Hunter's Chalkboard and then pay 2 to purchase a Ring of Winter and pop that into the prep area, which is great because next turn we're going to want to roll that as double bolts and use that as double energy so that we can get that cycling and buy some Silver Dragon stuff. So rolling Big Entrance on Chris's side. Chris doesn't land a Big Entrance on the first roll. Luckily this game does allow a reroll. Big Entrance here would be pretty good in that it would allow him to pick up a Jubilee and a Guy Gardner. But it doesn't land. He's unable to do what he wants to do with that Big Entrance, but he can pay 4 here, and he can pay 4 to pick up an Atom, which is great because his goal is being an OTK deck or being a combo deck. Your goal is to get to that combo as quickly as possible, thinning your bag out, kind of searching for those pieces. And so the Atom allows you to do that by using his ability, spinning him down, and then prepping a die and putting a die in used. So I think that's a great purchase. Looks like that's what he's going to pick up. And he's going to be looking to get that soon and getting that out and abusing that ability multiple times. A very, very cool ability. So here I am rolling 5. Forget to roll the Ring of Winter, but this is a casual game, and I should mention that this is a very, very casual game that we're playing together. We're both just kind of feeling out these teams, seeing how they perform. They both have some strong pieces on them, but we're not sure how strong each of these teams are. So Ring of Winter comes up, and that's actually going to mess things up significantly, and so are these energy types as well. We needed 4 energy there to pick up the White Dragon, 5 to pick up a Silver Dragon. We would have needed a Mask as well. Keeping the Ring of Winter on the 1 bolt would have allowed us to purchase a White Dragon. Looking for the double bolt side, a 1 in 3 chance is a little bit risky because here landing 50% of the time, the Ring of Winter actual action face side doesn't do us much good, but we salvage that roll by picking up an Investigation. All of that's going to go back into the bag next turn. Luckily, we fielded 2 sidekicks, so our bag is going to fill with 8 dice and not 10 dice, making things a little bit easier, and a ramp going in is a good way to salvage around that, to kind of play around that poor roll and poor decision on my part. So Atom comes out, and he rolls up, re-rolling the sidekick and the shield. It comes back as a shield and a bolt, and it looks like he's going to pick up one of the first of several combo pieces, which is Jubilee, and I think it's right to go immediately after the Jubilee and Danger Room combo, which is what he would most likely be looking to do next turn, because Jubilee plus Danger Room plus the Spin Up Global allows you to clear the board. Even if you don't have OTK damage, clearing the board is really, really strong. So here comes the Ring of Winter coming down on the 1 bolt side yet again. This time do we decide to keep it and pay for a White Dragon now? That seems good. We don't have any energy fixers, so those sidekicks aren't potential energy possibilities. So deciding whether or not to just keep what we have or go for 5 for a Silver Dragon. If we land the double bolt face, that's what we would get. Landing the action face would result in basically the same last turn that we had. So here we have 4 energy total. And seems like the best pickup here would be either a White Dragon, or the other option is picking up 2 cubes, which is kind of interesting. Picking up 2 cubes is not bad. It gives us dice that we can roll that give us more than just 1 energy. We don't have a ton of ramp. We do have a lot of churn. Looks like we are going to pick up 2 cubes. The downside to that, obviously getting characters is great. getting a white dragon is good. We won't have the ability to pull him with Ring of Winter because Ring of Winter is currently sitting and used alongside him. So buying two of those. Oh, he's going to spin up at the end of his turn there and going to prep one die and cycle one die into the used. But back to the point that I was making of buying a dragon there. It's just going to sit just like these cubes are. These cubes are pieces that we do want to buy at some point on our team. I could really go either way on that purchase. It's just fine either way. So Big Entrance comes up here, but he gets two sidekicks alongside Big Entrance, and that's not going to do him much good. One shield is also not going to do him much good. He's looking for Guy, and he's looking for Bolt. So re-rolling all of the sidekicks and hoping for bolts and fists would be great. And it looks like he gets one fist, one shield, one mask, and a sidekick. So all in all, not a good Big Entrance turn, which is unfortunate. Certainly going to field the sidekick. There's no reason not to. And then pick up a Guy, or you could pick up several other different, well, one other piece it would appear. Could buy a second Big Entrance. Looks like he's going to pick up a Wonder Woman Child of Clay, which is a great addition to his team because he's bringing globals that are two-sided, and the action die of Danger Room can be used on my turn by me to ping his characters out. And so the Wonder Woman Child of Clay prevents that from happening because her ability allows you to protect yourself from your opponent targeting your characters with globals. So using Investigation, popping all of these dice into the bag, drawing two dice, we have Ring of Winter and a cube. Cube does not come up, which is great, and Ring of Winter does come up, which is also great. Unfortunately, we don't have any Bolt dragons, which is very, very strange. That's the first energy type that I would associate with a dragon. But we do have a shield, so we can purchase and then field a white dragon on the 6/5 side. And we could even use the breath weapon because we'll be paying 4, leaving us 1 energy left over. And then Ring of Wintering, that looks like that's what we're going to do. Pulling that onto its 6/5 side. And then Breath Weapon 1 will deal 1 to him and all of his character dice. If we choose to do that, that would wipe his board. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Wipe his board, make him re-roll the really nice ramp churn ability on the Atom. So he's going to take 7 damage total because I'm pushing with that dragon. It's going to hit him for 6 on its 6/5 attack. It's level 3 side, which is a 6/5 stat line. He's going to pull Child of Clay, and he's going to pull a Jubilee, and he's going to re-roll all of that stuff that he got KO'd, that I KO'd, I should say, and all characters come up. Very, very strong roll from him. He can't pay for exactly one of those things, so going to re-roll both sidekicks. I would probably keep one, but hedging around getting 2 sidekicks again looks like it paid off. So exactly what he wants, or it looks to be very close to what he wants. Having that sidekick as a 1 fist would be probably the best roll because then he could use that fist to spin up either Jubilee or to spin up the Atom so that he could spin down the Atom and vice versa, or spin the Atom down with its ability and then spin up. Looks like that's what he's doing here. He's going to spin it down and he's going to prep a die from his bag and then put one of those dice in the used pile, separating out his transition zone stuff from his used pile so that he can prep and then refill the bag from the used pile and then pop one of those back into used. So passing back over to me, I have a cube. Looking at my previous turn, it would have been interesting to keep the dragon in play and then look to roll the cube on its cube face so that I could then pay the breath weapon and make it a breath weapon 3, which would be really cool, and then push for 9 total damage. This is a quick, easy turn. Just roll it as energy instead, pick up some ramp, prep it over so that I guarantee it next turn because I have, I think, 9 or 10 dice going into the bag, so I want to keep that thin and quick. Especially with something like a dragon team or something that can be quick with the Ring of Winter where it pulls something that you just purchased that turn. I want to get that triggering as many times as possible, get as many dragons out there as possible on their high sides, because dragons, if you don't know, are extremely powerful. Both stat-wise and breath weapon in general is just very, very powerful. Not a lot of AoE board clears in this game, and the ones that do exist don't see a ton of play, and so the meta is not shaped around board clears at all, which makes, I think, a lot of gives you an opening to play something like board clears, which is what he's doing here too. He's got a board clear set up himself. Unfortunately, he does not have any danger rooms yet, which is probably what he wants to go for here. He's got the big entrance, and he's probably looking for a bolt so that he can big entrance in a danger room, which is a great move against our team and our current setup, because I'm looking to get out dragons that have nice high sides, and he's going to be able to KO those very, very easily by just playing danger room and paying a fist to spin Jubilee up. Now there is some counterplay involved in this. He's playing his big entrance off of his reroll with the 4 energy there, and I would imagine he would pick up a danger room, pop that into the bag. And he's also got a bolt and a fist left over. This would be a good time to pick up Jubilee. Oh no, he's going to pick up the investigation, which is also a good call. Picking up investigation, looks like he's going to pick up Guy, and that's going to go in the bag alongside the investigation that I brought, and he's going to pick up Jubilee. So he's got 2 Jubilees, and he's got 1 Guy, which is not a bad setup as well, because looking at my board, I have 3 sidekicks, which are very easy to ping out, even without danger room. Assuming I don't get a dragon, he could just field Guy Gardner and attack with everything, spinning up one of the Jubilees to KO my sidekick board, and basically just push for a ton of damage, because while I'm at 20, Guy Gardner is just that good. So ring comes up, and the bolt sides on Cosmic Cube are actually not bad here. We're looking to buy a dragon and pop the dragon in. Unfortunately, we again don't have a bolt dragon, which is just silly. Rerolling the investigation, it comes back up as 2 generic, but we do get a shield, which allows us to buy another white dragon and saves our skin a little bit, because Guy is in the bag alongside a board full of characters. So here is the pretty clear play of purchasing 4 cost, keeping 1 bolt in reserve, probably not using the breath weapon and attacking with the white dragon, even though it does clear his board a little bit. Going to use the Ring of Winter to bring that out on its level 3 side. We also have 1 in the bag as well, which should come out next turn, or at least that's what we hope. Unfortunately, investigation didn't pay off, and such is the life when it comes to action-based ramp. Looks like we are going to attack and pay the breath weapon. That's going to ping him for 1, and all his characters for 1, KOing the Atom and KOing the sidekick, and he's going to block with Jubilee on my dragon. So my dragon stays in the field, which is great for me. This is also another play that it makes sense. It's not the worst play in the world as well, because if Guy comes up, at least he has to reroll all of these characters, and exactly what we see here could happen, which is he rolls a bunch of energy instead of a bunch of characters. This is a game of rerolls, though, so obviously he's going to want to reroll those characters, and not going to need the mask for anything, and hoping to get investigation so that he can roll into Guy Gardner. Looks like he's going to scoop and roll 4 dice. Reroll 4 dice. So let's see how it plays out for him. And he picks up Jubilee, which isn't as necessary in this moment, but investigation's out there. A sidekick, which could help with Guy buff, but because he kept my dragon in the field and didn't take that damage, there's not an opening for lethal here with Guy Gardner. He would have 1, 2, 3 attacking characters, and Guy, being on a 3 side, would only buff to 6. Jubilee, a 2-1. Looks like he's rolling Jubilee and Guy. Wow, actually, that's really, really good. Guy on its, I think that's a 2-2 side. We've got a fist for some shenanigans going on. Spinning up Jubilee to KO my sidekicks. He's got Guy, 2 Jubilees, and 1 Wonder Woman, which I wouldn't imagine he would attack with Wonder Woman. That wouldn't make much sense. Unless he had lethal. So paying the 1 to field the Jubilee, the others are free to field, meaning that is a 2/2 side on Guy Gardner. And it would appear that it is. He's going to buy Shriek. No, he's going to buy Danger Room and pop that over into the used pile, and he's going to pay to field all of those characters. If he attacks with everything, then the guy gets a +4 attack, making that a 6 attack character. Looks like he's just going to attack with a 2/1, a, what is that, 2, 3, 4, a 4/2, and a 1/1. And being at 20, I can actually just eat at all of this just fine. And that'll all go to used, making his bag insanely full. That would pop in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13 dice in the bag. So I think that is a real possibility. Just taking the 6 from Guy, which is great because it doesn't cycle Guy and make him roll it again. We definitely don't block that. If anything, we consider blocking the sidekick, but 1 damage is not as important, so we're just going to take it all and pass over to me, which leaves me a nice little counter swing option if we pull the white dragon. Now we can only use breath weapon 1 time because even though it's a when attacks ability, they've ruled that breath weapon a way long time ago. They ruled that breath weapon only triggers per dragon. But it's not going to matter if we don't get the second dragon here. We want to be able to push with 2 dragons though, 2 6/5s or 2, a 6/5 and a 4/3. Both of those are very strong. We have the cube, so we're going to keep the energy. We need energy to field said dragon if it comes up. And so exactly what happens, keeping the energy is exactly right. Unfortunately, this is the 1 in 6 that could have occurred where we can't actually use the breath weapon, so the cube doesn't do any good for us. So that's the unfortunate part. If it lands on the level 1 side or the level 2 side, then we have exactly 1 energy to pay the breath weapon, and that would probably do it because that would deal him 3. The Wonder Woman would be left in the field. We would attack and with the 2 dragons and be able to push 6. Let's see, what would that do? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that would be exactly, no, he's at 13. Or is he at 12? I can't. No, he's at 12. And so that would be exact lethal if we would have gotten that dragon on one of its sides. No, it still would have not been lethal. Forget everything I said. It wouldn't have been lethal because he would just block the largest dragon, and we would have the lower statted dragon go through. He'd be at like 1 or 2, which would mean that the dragon that stays in the field would just have to breath weapon the next turn. So it would have been doable. 2-turn lethal over time. No attacks here, though, means 2 dragons sit in the field and we set up lethal next turn, assuming he doesn't roll some insane stuff, or assuming he doesn't use the danger room to wipe my board, which would be unfortunate and a possibility here, because he pulled danger room, a 1 in 13. Actually, it's a 1 in 13 plus a 1 in 12 plus a 1 in 11 plus a 1 in 10, which is still pretty low. And luckily for us, he did not roll it. He also doesn't have a fist, so that he can't spin up the using the Gigantic Global. And again, he can't actually use the Gigantic Global to spin up, which is unfortunate. So he has big entrance. Only thing he can really go for is picking up another Jubilee or picking up a Shriek. 2-cost Shriek and putting that into the bag is not bad, but very, very slow. At this point, that wouldn't do much good because I am just setting up lethal next turn, hoping for a cube and then pushing a bunch of damage. Or even a Ring of Winter into a 3rd dragon would probably seal the deal, as long as I get to use the breath weapon. The Jubilee plus the sidekick add blockers, but as long as I can land a cube, then those get KO'd. Looks like he is going to use big entrance and then buy a Shriek and pop that into the bag. 4 dice on his side of things. We have Investigate. That's great. If we can land the Investigation, get some ramp going and cycle through the bag. And a second Investigation and a cube. So this could be very, very good. Cube comes up. 1 Investigate comes up. Breath weapon 1, so we have 1 energy for breath weapon. The second Investigate is, oh wow, and it lands 2. So that's really, really good for us. We're going to Investigate once and roll 2 dice, and a cube comes, and it lands. The cube lands too. So some really, really good rolls, some lucky rolls for us, and that's probably going to do it, because that cube plus 1 energy for the 1 breath weapon. Oh, and the Ring of Winter comes up. Unfortunately, we can't buy anything to really pour on the salt on the wound, but we just play 2 cubes, making the breath weapon 1 an actual breath weapon 5, which is really, really awesome, really sick. Then pay the 1. That's going to KO everything on his side of the field, because the Wonder Woman has a 3/5 stat line currently, and then just be able to push the 6/5 plus the 6/5 plus the 1/1/1. It's going to deal a bunch of damage, and that's just going to do it. So the Dragons win out on this first game. I know we played 2 games, so let me get to casting the second game as well and uploading that one. The second game takes a little bit of a different line for both of us. We both take different lines of play. Rather than picking up the cubes, I end up taking a different path, if you will, there in the early going of the game. So let me get to casting that one as well. This one's a lot of fun. I like this team a lot, and I love dragons. I mean, come on, who doesn't love dragons? So I hope you guys enjoyed this game, and let's jump into game number 2.